Okay, we'll call the November planning and zoning meeting to order. Any from the numbers? Okay, thank you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call with introductions. I'm Roger Gilmer, representing District 3. District 1.
Don Cabolio, District 9.
Bruce Knockreiner, citizen member.
Jody Shapey, District 7.
John Dolezal, District 8.
Hannah Eggersdorf, sales student.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion to approve the agenda? And second, motion and second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have an agenda. Need a motion to approve the minutes from October 5th, planning and zoning. Okay, and Jody, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Surveyors report.
During the last month, I've been still working on the database a little bit. That's gonna take a little more time than I expected. Also, last month, I did 9 section corners along County Trunk Highway Z, reset those. That was in the area where they did the repay. So I reset those, I still have the conditions. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for the surveyor? Okay, moving on, register of deeds office.
I just wanted to tell you that our imaging vendor had picked up 55 of the grantor grantee index books. He's brought back 51 so far. They're working on it for. We forget that we have keys to open certain books, and I forgot to send those with them. So he picked them up and we got that straightened away. So they'll be scanning those and bringing those back. And then when they bring the deliverables back, we'll make a decision on where we're going to store them, or if we're going to store them on the county's cloud space or regional planning commission with a search mechanism. So we want to make sure the public can get at those. We today got in 264 documents from the DOT on the controlled access. The funny part is those documents were signed and notarized in 2017. So some of the descriptions have changed, some of the names have changed, but we're just going to record them, and then we probably will put a note with the ones that are not like if a survey's been done on them, or I mean, in this case, we have to notice the name is spelled wrong, things like that, just so they can make the decision whether or not they want to change it. I'm still waiting for the check. So right in the meantime, Julie's going through them all to review them, and then we asked the state to send us checks in batches for 50 documents at a time, because if there's something wrong with one, if you give us, we have one document that's totally unrecordable, we have to reject the whole batch, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep that rolling along as much as possible. So I've been working with them for the last couple of months. So and I expect we're going to see more documents for, if you see the flags and stuff along Highway 13 in town here, they're redoing the like the disability curb stuff, and so we'll be probably getting temporary limited easement documents in for those as well. So that's what we're waiting for. And I did lose an employee in my office because Tina went to another office. My employee went over there, so I'm waiting to see what to about refilling the position in my office. And that's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you. Land information.
Yeah, so we had, from the Land Information Office, we submitted the Next Generation 911 grant that was submitted on October 18th. We will see if we receive any grant funding for our project sometime at the end of this month. And in order to apply for this grant itself, there was a 20% required match. And that 20% had to be put into the Land Information's budget for year 2023 through our retained fund balance. And the 2023 Wisconsin Land Information Program Grant application is now available. And this year's statewide grant eligibility totals $7.3 billion. And the deadline to apply for that is December 31st, 2022. The amount per county looks to be about $70,000 for our strategic initiative grant. And while 2024 looks to be significantly lower than what they're offering for this year, but that's due at the end of the year. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, change of addresses, private road names, street name, address signs, designed for the developments associated with Sand Valley. Dusty.
Yeah, so we, at Sand Valley Resort, I'll share my screen if Lauren lets me. All right, so the area in question, you can see Archer Ave there on your screen. The green lines, these are all private roads that we're discussing right now, or that we will be discussing. The road number, the address numbering system, how it got done the way it did, I don't know. That was before my time. About the only correct address out there, is the main one, 1475 Archer.
That we issued.
Yep, so the one that's actually on the public roadway is the correct number. And this will be a really brief recap on how numbers work from east to west. They start at the county line at 100. Every mile, it goes up 100 numbers. Yeah. And it's broke down by footage in front of that, so, or in between that. So you can see we do have a 15th Ave. As you're moving from right to left on the screen, as you hit 15th Ave, that's where 1500 or 1501 would be. As I zoom in, you'll see we have 1687. So these numbers are about 2 miles off of where they're supposed to be. And you also see some 3-digit numbers, and that's the grid going from north to south. Same thing, start the county line at 100 and counts up from there. And those should be in the 600s.
500s, but they were on the wrong road.
Yes, thank you. And it depends on whether it's east or west, north, south. So we did meet with representatives from Sand Valley, and I do see Michael on the line or on the call. And I know he does want to speak with about it also. So Tina's been working with them, and we did come up with a number of address changes that would need to happen, and that would then get everything back in the grid. Here is the list. And as far as the way I understand it, Sand Valley is okay with changing all of these with one exception, which the committee will have to decide on. The other component to it, we have met with Rome Police Chief, Rome Fire Department, Town of Rome, Sheriff York. Am I missing anybody?
No.
Sam, can't forget Sam. And the idea is when emergency responders, and I've gone out there even to do septic inspections. They give you an address, there's no kind of rhyme or reason how to get to any given place out there. And the other concern is that there are no road signs out there, road name signs. Being that it is, they are all private roads, it is internal in there. Where the public can't necessarily access a lot of component or parts of it. They have requested they have an overall larger design. They have requested not a variance, but a variation of what the ordinance requires. They would like to use brown signs instead of red on anything internal. Currently, some of the numbers they do have are on the ground. So one of the requirements one of the things we are requiring is that all the components of the fire numbers or the address sign are the same as what the ordinance requires. It'd be the same as everybody else's, other than we're going with brown. instead of red. And these are all changes that the committee does have to approve. And then road name signs, I don't have any. I'm aware of, I don't have any examples. The one request that was made was from, I believe it was the police chief, was that they're flag signs, so you can see them from both ways as opposed to like a flat sign where you can only see them from one direction. My recommendation would be that more or less, I mean, to all extent practical, they're the same as any other road sign on a public roadway. Internal, they might be a different. I would ask the committee to approve them to either go with a brown or a different color, slightly relax the design standards. But it would, our goal here is to make it consistent and be able to have emergency responders figure out where they're going once they get in there. If the road signs aren't the same as a town road, well, color wise, I mean, it's not a huge deal as long as they can get to where they need to go. And there is a, Tina, do you want to mention the road name changes?
The new ones for second. We don't have any road name changes in there.
I thought there's one that was, I read. I thought we were changing one road name. Okay, never
I
mind.
don't think so.
So then the one question that. I know Michael's gonna wanna speak about it. Is the main address they use, which is 16.
97.
So 1697.
Leopold Way.
Leopold Way. It's way down here at the end. And Michael can confirm this is what they use for their advertising, everything else. They are requesting that that number does not get changed. So it would be a number that kind of doesn't jive with anything else in the entire. Okay, no, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, was that a fair recap of what we've discussed in the past?
I'm not sure if I was unmuted. Can everybody hear me?
We can now.
I hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that recap, Dustin. And I think for the background of everyone involved, I do think you did a nice job of providing an overview of how we got to the process that we did. And I would say that from Sand Valley's perspective, we agree that, some order needs to be put to what was given to us by the county. I would stress that all of these addresses were assigned to us originally by the county. And the one that does stick out to us is that 1697. It was the first address that was ever assigned, and as such lives at the end of that trail that Dustin pointed out. We would like to keep that for a lot of different reasons. You can imagine the underlying business tones behind that of everything that's already been established and set up. I think it's a somewhat reasonable request, particularly looking at that we're getting ready to change 24 other addresses across our property. And I would agree with Dustin. I think it's been a nice work group to get to the point that we did. We recognize the desire for everyone, both county and our organization, to get back within the grid per se. And this positions us well for not only today, but cleans up what was done. I like what Dustin said, he doesn't know how it was done. It was before his time. It was before my time as well. So I can't speak to how the county concluded with that address. But other than that, I think everything he summarized is pretty much spot on. And that would be a request we would like to carry forward. There's nothing really associated with that address. What's important to us is the mailing address portion of that, not the actual physical address per se. Particularly with now what we've put down, with what the county's done and put forth, anybody calling from any place on our property will have a very specific location that they can be taken to or identified to. So all in all, I think that's kind of where we stand on the whole thing.
Want 47 motions, or could we do it all at once?
Each one. I think one.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the requested changes, including the one that stays the same. Would anybody like to make that motion? Or a different motion?
I'll make a motion to accept all the changes except the 1697 Leopold.
Motion's been made. To accept everything except the one that stayed the same.
I'll second that.
And we have a second to that motion. Any further discussion? Yes,
So I understand the need for the changes. All makes sense to me. Are we, when we're approving this or not approving this, the motion is to accept them, so we're accepting the change and leaving the one individual address out of order.
no, I got the impression that you're not accepting the change.
The change isn't included in the motion.
Okay, we're leaving the 1697 as is included in your motion.
It's not, it's,
It was the thinking you said.
yeah. We're,
To accept the changes except for 1697. I think how you worded that.
that's handled separate.
Okay,
1697 should be handled separate.
So you're dealing, so this is for. So, sign color. Sign design and 23 number change, or all the number changes except for 1697, that will be dealt with separately.
And in making those changes, except for sign color, they would be consistent with the rest of the signing and sequencing for the
Yeah,
county.
certain locations, certain height off the ground. The ordinance does spell all that out, but it also says it has to be red.
Okay. So just to be clear, what we're currently approving or not approving is those changes, those adjustments to signs, colors, placement to bring them in line with current county expectations, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
And all the other address changes,
Correct,
except for the one.
to bring them back in line with the
Yep.
county, except for the last place that's on its own.
Yep.
Gotcha, thank you.
okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll, wait a minute.
Did the fire department have any concerns about color?
The town of Rome representatives are here also, but when we met at. With everybody, the general consensus was. They didn't care the color, didn't care about the color. We want to be able to see them and have them in a visible location in something standard.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair recap what they said.
That would be accurate. They're okay. Fire department and police department are okay with brown.
Okay. No other discussion, roll call vote,
Gilmer,
yes.
Chakuti,
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Herbolio.
Yes.
Dolal,
Yes.
Knockreiner,
Yes.
Hagersdorf.
Sure.
Okay, change is approved. Correction.
Everyone to, I don't know if I'm still on mute or not,
What do
but
you want to do with 1697?
Well, I think he just separated out and now you want a motion one way or the other on that.
Okay, we need a motion to accept leaving 1697 address as is. I'll make that one. Yeah, we have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to address 1697 leaving as is. Any further discussion? Yeah,
Surprise. How does the town feel about that as far as that, specifically emergency services? That's where I see the most important potential confusion. And law enforcement, EMS and fire department is okay with that one anomaly.
Yeah,
So I'm Jamie Gabbard, I'm the administrator for the town. I did also share this with my carabiners. Sam Valley has been wonderful cooperative partners with us, and we have worked through this process well. The chiefs would have concerns because it wouldn't fit into the overall grid. We understand the implications of making that change, we certainly do, but
I have a question for Michael. That's okay.
go ahead.
Michael, did you say that there's no structure associated with that number?
Right now, it's a turn stand, snack bar area that services golfers. Along the resort, it's a kind of egress area to and from the golf course. My really more specific comment was now with the rest of our property being clearly defined, I cannot see any reason why anyone would be called to this specific address. For example, right now, that's the address that lives, and no one goes to that location every single time we have a call to emergency services. So that was the purpose or reason for me suggesting what I did. There is a structure, there's 2 bathrooms and like I said, a sliding window that services beverages and some snacks.
Yeah,
So one more question. Is there any kind of waiver of liability? Should it take police or EMS too long to respond to any confusion that may result from that address? Because that's gonna come back on us if we goof up the grid.
Is that a question directed to myself?
well, if you can answer it. No.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be happy to, work with the county to whatever next layer would need to be done to ensure that. We'd be happy to do that.
Jody,
What would the number be changed to if it was changed? What would the number be changed?
597 Leopold Way.
597 Leopold Way. Anybody can hear that?
Thank you.
any other discussion? So the motion is to keep 1697 as is and seconded. No further discussion, roll call vote.
Shaky,
No.
Turco.
Yeah.
Herbolio,
Yes.
Dolzel,
No,
Knockreiner,
No.
Gilner,
No.
Agersdorf.
No.
Okay, motion fails. So now we need a motion to change 1697 to 5 something.
What she just said, 597.
597,
I'll make that motion.
motion and second to change the number to
I'll second.
597. Okay, any discussion on this?
Shaky and also.
Hearing none, roll call.
Turco,
Yes.
Herbolio,
Yes.
Dolzel,
yes,
Agersdorf,
Yes.
Knockreiner,
Yes.
Gilner,
Yes.
Shaky.
Yes.
Okay. Change the number.
Okay.
Next thing on the list, correction of the legal description for ordinance 21-2022.
At the last county board meeting, there was a error in the ordinance for the rezoning for. At the last county board meeting, there was an error for the rezoning request for Tim and Jennifer Ritchie. We do have the corrected ordinance here. The county board, as you all know, sent it back to the committee. I would think you would need another motion. to Move it on, and we do have the corrected version here with the correct section.
I would entertain that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Jody and John. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Carvalho,
Yes.
Dolville,
Yes.
Hagersdorf,
Yes.
Notreiner,
Yes.
Milner,
Yes.
Chaffee,
Yes.
Turco.
Yes. Okay. Goes on to the full county board again. Okay, now we'll start with the public hearings. Beantown Campground Incorporated rezone.
The first application is for Beantown Campground Inc. This is reopen a table rezone request for parcel 10.7 acres from R3 Versatile Residential District to PR Planned Residential on property located in the northeast quarter, section 33, township 15, north, range 7 east, parcel 12-1085-10, town of Jackson. This is only the rezone portion of the request, R3. The applicant ultimately wants to put in a campground. Under R3 zoning, you cannot apply for a campground, even as a conditional use. So the first step is to apply to rezone it to PR Planned Residential, which does allow for campgrounds as a conditional use, which, as you see on the agenda, is the next item. The highway commissioner did not have any concerns. We did receive from the town of Jackson at their October meeting. They felt it conforms to the town plan and they do not object. And
Is there someone here from Beantown that could speak on this?
Scott Anderson, surveyor representing Beantown. Dustin pretty much spelled it out what we got going on.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Jody,
I'm just curious, this property was operated as a campground in the past, correct?
yes, but they are modifying it. It was at one point a legal non-conforming use, but they're changing it enough that we need to go through the process.
Thank you.
okay, is there anyone out there that wishes to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anyone out there that wishes to speak against this proposal? Hearing none, it's up to the committee. Jody,
There was no correspondence? Thank you.
John,
Sorry, but it was approved by the town.
yes,
Correct. Sorry, no correspondence from the public.
Gotcha.
I'm asking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass the rezone.
We have a motion to approve, Jody, and second. The Volvo. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dolville,
Yes.
Hagersdorf,
Yes.
Notreiner,
Yes.
Gilmer,
Yes.
Chaffee,
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Carvalho,
Yes.
Okay, the rezone is approved. It'll have to go before the full county board.
15.
15, at 9:30 in the morning.
Hmm.
Next meeting is at 9:30. Okay, now on to the next portion, the Beantown conditional use request.
All right, so this Beantown Campground Inc. reopen a tabled conditional use request under section 405-37C to establish a 20-unit campground on property located in the northeast quarter. Section 33, township 15 north, range 7 east, parcel 12-1085-10, town of Jackson. On this one, the town considered this request separately. At the same meeting, October 13th, they do not object for a 20-unit campground. They did have some suggestions for conditions that they would like the board to put on. No fireworks, limited noise after 10 p.m., signage for property boundaries, on-site representative by owner or employee, and no pets. The highway commissioner also had no objection to this request. And that was all the correspondence I received. I did have a couple of phone calls, more informational requests than anything.
Representative from Beantown? Comments?
None.
Are the conditions acceptable that the town put on?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? George?
Sorry, there was another map added late today, or this morning, I guess it was, that is attached to the agenda. It's just basically the same, but a little more detail with a topographic map. For informational.
You want to bring it up on the screen? Can I ask some questions while you're doing that?
Go ahead.
Okay, I was not at this meeting, so was use of ATV or UTV discussed? Anyone?
That was not a question that was brought up or concern.
Is that something you anticipate?
Probably, there are a lot on G in there.
As far as ATV, I've never had any golf carts. It's usually at my campground or county, but not ATVs. But I see ATVs around here, so.
Okay, this had me wondering, what exactly is limited noise? How do you define limited noise?
Hear the music down almost a lot at 10 o'clock.
Okay. So we're not like putting a decibel on it or anything like that, we're just,
They get out of hand, you have to just go say something, say, turn it down.
okay. Any discussion on campfires?
It wasn't, no,
And was there anything discussed regarding alcohol,
no,
firearms?
no.
Thank you.
Bruce?
And what's the plans for sanitation?
We're gonna have 300-gallon holding tanks for each camper,
20 of them?
20 of them. We're gonna dump them all when it pops up. Take it to the holding tank and dump it in there. And then all the way from there,
So you have a holding tank on property.
yes.
Is that a special permit?
They will have to have a sanitary permit for it, and it would have to be the state sanitary code. I did share my screen now, a little larger than what Lauren had brought up. They do have in the lower left-hand corner there. That's where they anticipate having the dump station. Kind of shows the layout of the lot, the road. There are a couple of portable restrooms. And then similar, this is the aerial photo. The photo cuts it off a little bit. You can see on the south property line, some houses along there. That is part of the Clearwater Estates condominium. Straight across from Jordan Lake. There's 60-some single wide manufactured homes in there. Designed as a condo. And then the remainder of former K&L campground is to the north of the proposed site. So on the right is Jordan Lake. the rezone request is for this parcel. This is the remainder of the K and L campground. Which they do not. They aren't associated with.
Okay, anything else in the committee? Okay, is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this request? Is there anybody out there that wishes to speak against this request? Hearing none, it's up to the committee. Now we're considering a motion on the conditional use, including the conditions listed by the township.
A separate motion. Start with a motion for attaching the conditions.
Okay, then I need a motion to accept the conditions that the township recommended. We have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second to accept the conditions. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Griner,
Yes.
Billner,
Yes.
Chaffee,
Yes.
Churko,
Yes.
Carvalho,
Yes.
Dolzel,
Yes.
Hagersdorf.
Yes.
Okay, conditions are approved. Now we need a motion to accept the conditional use permit request
With the attachment.
with the attached conditions. We have a motion, John, Jay, and a second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Griner,
No.
Billner,
Yes.
Chaffee,
Yes.
Churko,
Yes.
Carvalho,
Yes.
Dolzel,
Yes.
Hagersdorf.
Yes.
Okay, this passes and does not have to go before the full board, but it is pending on the approval of the rezone at the full board. Next one.
The next application is for Lynn Turner. It's a conditional use request under section 40538C of the Adams County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance for the placement of a single wide manufactured home on property located in part southeast quarter, northeast quarter, section 25. Township 15 North Range 7 East being lot 1, CFM 3548. Parcel 12-837-10, Town of Jackson. The address is 3426 First Court. I did receive from the Town of Jackson. They do not object. This was also at the October meeting. Needs to be not an eyesore, needs to look good and be sound, I believe. Yeah, that was at our October meeting. I did not receive any other correspondence on this one.
Okay, is the requester online or in person? See Lynn Turner? Okay, any questions from the committee?
We don't,
Jody?
Go ahead, Bruce.
we don't know what year this manufactured home is.
We don't know what they're planning on putting in. We know what the township requested.
Right, and if the way I've always done manufactured home for single wide manufactured homes, if it's new, you know, they wouldn't have to come with a specific one. New is new. Generally beyond that, and I've had this conversation, if you found one, you know, a 1990, and that's what you want to put on, you would present that specific unit to the board. At this point, my understanding is that he does not have a specific one picked out. I believe you were at the meeting when we discussed it.
I was at the meeting the month prior.
You weren't at the October one?
I was.
Yeah, okay. But that's what happened at the September meeting. He didn't have a specific one in mind.
I believe so, yeah. But that's when I chimed in with this 25 or 24 by 24 foot.
Right.
And so I need some explanation on that again.
Yep, so. That's, all houses have to be able to fit a 24 by 24 foot square, except for single wide manufactured homes. They have, but it has to be a manufactured home and not a mobile home. And there is a difference, 1976 is the cutoff. Anything older than 19, like June of 76 and older is considered a mobile home. Those are not permitted in any district. Manufactured home is newer than 1976. It's where they were inspected at the factory and what standards they were built to. Those are permitted in certain circumstances or as a conditionally used. My take after talking with the town clerk. Lynn wanted to know if he could do anything before he kind of found something. Almost a little bit cart before the horse. I think if you attach those conditions and said it has to be newer than pick a year. You know, we could do that, or approve it, provided he comes back with whatever he picks out before it's official. And you have a couple options, or table it until we find something. I mean, he left it pretty open-ended, which I don't like on conditional use.
Yeah,
I got two thoughts on this. Number one, I don't like the description that the town gave as far as their conditions. It's too vague and open-ended. There's nothing nobody qualify it. And I struggle with approving anything until there's a definition of what we're approving, so.
fair enough, Jody.
Couple things. Per our ordinance, I think it's 4059, what I jotted down. On or after 650 and 76, single wide manufactured home, minimum width 14, minimum square foot 720, must have a pitched roof. Must have residential siding. So I mean, those are pretty definite, sorry about that. And you mentioned it has to be approved by the board. Are you saying it should go back to the town board or it should come in front of the committee?
Just as an option, you know, the board, I think he wants the idea that, yes, I can put something out there. You know, almost like a tentative approval with. Whenever you find something, come back to us and we'll say yes or no to that. I would say to this committee. Or table the whole thing, then he just doesn't have that. Yeah, you know, conceptually, you're fine to do it, we just want the details. He doesn't have that. But those standards would apply no matter what.
I would agree with John that it seems as though we're approving something that we don't even really know what we're approving, and I sat in on that September meeting, and it seems as though cost is an issue. I'm really curious what's gonna be placed there, if it's just.
Well, and I'd entertain a motion to table this until he has something permanent.
I'll make the motion. I'll make a motion to table it.
And Bruce, motion to table, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call,
Gilmer,
yes.
JD,
Yes.
Sherco,
Yes.
Polio,
Yes.
Dolzol,
Yes.
Agersdorf. Yes. Not Griner.
Yes.
Okay, request is tabled. Next one,
The next application is for James Matthews, conditional use request under section 40538C of the Adams County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. For the placement of a single wide manufactured home on property located in the east half, northwest quarter, southwest quarter, section 4. Township 19 North, range 7 east, parcel 6-70, town of Colburn, the average address is 481 Badger Drive. This is for. Does have the information in it was part of the application packet. My understanding is this is going to be a brand new one. I do see the applicant on the call, and he was requesting for a 14x70 brand new. I did receive a little correspondence from the town of Colburn at their October meeting, did not object to the request, didn't give any reasons. And I also received a letter. Through Dustin Grant, our names are Peggy and Frank Canterman, located at 47 Badger Drive, adjacent to this property. We are notifying you by letter that we are okay with them building a retirement home. 300 feet. 300 feet of the request. Sincerely, Peggy and Frank Canterman. And that is all the correspondence I have.
Okay, is the requester online? Mr. Matthews?
Yes,
Do you have anything to say about your request?
yes, I sent in the measurements and that where it would be placed and we are looking at right now brand new and minimum size would be 14 by 70. It might be bigger, but that would be the minimum size that we're looking at. And I think from what I had for the lot line from Peggy and Frank, from my driveway to their lot line would be 276 feet from their lot line. And it would be placed back roughly 140 feet off the road.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee? Jody?
Mr. Matthews, you said you're looking at new. Are
Yes.
you going to buy new?
Yes, that's our intentions of going with brand new. I talked to Dustin about used and that, and he told me what the floor mat would be. I would have to have pictures of a used one and that, and it would be that one particular trailer, so we decided to go with brand new instead of looking at any used ones.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure, because looking at and buying are two different things, so thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone that wishes to speak against this request? Hearing none, it's up to the committee.
I'll make
I have a motion to approve
I second.
and a second, Jody. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Turco,
Yeah.
Carvalho,
Yes.
Dolville,
Yes.
Egger,
Yes.
Doc Ryan,
Yes.
Bill
Yes. Okay, this does not go before the full county board. You're approved.
All right, thank you.
The next up,
Oh, go ahead.
didn't want you on here. The next application is for the town of Lincoln. This is a rezone request for parcel 1 acre from conservancy to general purpose on property located in the southeast quarter, southwest quarter, section 14, township 17 north, range 7 east, parcel 16-305, located in the town of Lincoln, 2181 County Road G. As you can see in the photos, this is the town of Lincoln Town Hall. There is a water body nearby, and under that, they were zoned. When shoreline zoning, or when the conservancy district was created and shoreline zoning was started. It was zoned as conservancy, and under conservancy, there's very little you can do in the way of construction. The town hall has been there for at least a few years, and they are interested in building bathrooms on there, and they are unable to because you can't build in conservancy. So the request is to change it from conservancy to general purpose, which does allow for the town hall and to be able to do what they are requesting. I did receive correspondence from the town of Lincoln. They do not object to their request. They felt it was placed in the conservancy in error, and they would like to put the addition on. It was for bathrooms, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I also did, and that was at their September meeting. And I did receive correspondence from the highway department. They do not have any concern with this request either.
Okay, was the requester have anything to add?
I think that pretty well sums it up. I mean, we have ARPA funds, and the idea is to use the ARPA funds to provide sanitation in the town hall. So
Okay, any questions from the committee? Jody?
Thank you, Rocky. Just curious, as you're remapping conservancy, where are we on this parcel?
Well. Without change, it would still fall within the 1,000 feet. Which is what Sam and I have been working on, is getting. The outer limits of the shoreline zoning ordinance in check. I did also bring up to the committee. In the spring, I guess it was, about maybe potentially getting rid of the conservancy district. And I did have that conversation with the town chairman. Don't know when that's gonna happen and if it will happen. I anticipate it be a winter project. After discussing with them, they felt go through this process independent of whether it changes countywide. But on this site, you know, as far as conservancy goes, I'm not sure what we would necessarily be conserving anyway.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone that wishes to speak against this request? Hearing none, it's up to the committee.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Move to approve by Jay, second by Rolio. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Turco,
Yes.
Revolio,
Yes.
Dolzol,
Yes.
Hagersdorf,
Yes.
Knockreiner,
Yes.
Gilmer,
Yes,
Chafee.
Yes.
okay. You're approved.
And this will go through.
This does not go to the full county board, or does, it's a result, yes.
So
The
it's not final.
the 15th, our meeting is at 9:30 in the morning. Okay. That ends the public hearings. Financial report.
It is attached to the agenda. Doing quite well as far as revenue wise. We are $3,000 or almost $4,000 over what we anticipated. Excuse me, we're within $4,000 of what we anticipated for the annual revenue. So overall, we're doing quite well. Been saying it for a while, permits are just doing. It's been busy. Under the permit report. Sorry, I'm jumping to the next.
That's okay.
Numbers wise for September, it was slightly behind. In most categories, building permits were higher. The TC PT is transfer container, portable toilets. Those numbers are dramatically higher around March because that's when they're due for renewal. Year to date on total permits issued, you can see we've issued about 381 transfer containers, portable toilets. And that is up about 120 from last year. The new sanitary ordinance is a big reason for that, pertaining to campers. That's where the transfer containers happen. But year to date, we're within 30 permits, 35 permits of last year at this time, and revenue wise. Somebody did ask me, and I know I brought it up before, that end of month in the bottom, it's about the third line from the bottom. That is the tail end of a given month. So in this case, at the end of September, and the deposit wasn't done until, say, the 1st of October. So in our, at the county bookkeeping level, that's recorded for October because that's when the deposit was made, is my understanding. We put that in there so it actually happened in September, so you're kind of aware that, that's where that number came from. Or that, that number happened. But you can see we are substantially ahead of last year at this point.
Okay, any questions? Moving on. Planning and zoning division updates.
All right, nothing major, still working on filling that position.
Anybody applying?
I'm waiting to hear back if, somebody's going to accept the offer or not. But we have had a number of applicants over the course of 6 months. For various reasons, it didn't work out. We are in the process of the hydrograph monitoring wells. They are all up and running. Once we get some longer term data and reference it to some other stuff, you will start seeing that available online. And what that is the elevation of groundwater at our monitoring wells. It's something that septic installers can use when they're working on what type of septic system you can put on a given property. The monitoring wells have been in place since about 2010. We did receive a couple years of good data and that, and for various reasons, long before I was here, the program just kind of, the equipment wasn't kept up. We also have, and I know Jody's aware of this because it was brought up yesterday, we have the same exact model number, same systems and everything. They're just not wells. They're actually sensors that go on all of our dams or on our county-owned dams. And luckily, one of my building inspectors is very handy and he has been able to get these up and running. The lake level ones will be, or I can't say will be. We're ordering the parts. They will be up and running. I'm hoping this winter, but it depends on, one of the things we did order before was on back order, so that's why I'm hesitant to say soon. But he will get them up and running and that information, once we get the data rolling in, I plan on making that available on our county website, so you can go to the website and see the elevation of the Easton or Fawn Lake or all the dams on the Tri-Lakes. And that information will be available to everybody.
Okay. Anybody from the public have anything to add? Any correspondence?
No.
Okay, next meeting date, December 7th. Don't leave the room until you sign the ordinances. Meeting's adjourned. All right.